Say, bruh, the Brooklyn Nets are signing Paul Millsap to fill out their roster. Before we get into this video, everybody go ahead and hit that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and also hit that notification bell so you can receive a notification every single time we post a video. Welcome to Sports R Us, and today we're going to talk about the signing of Paul Millsap to the Brooklyn Nets. Now, Paul Millsap, of course, he was playing with the Denver Nuggets for a few years. You know, he has had a long career. He came in the league in 2007, and he's been playing, pretty much good and formidable basketball ever since he made it into the league. You know, he had, some great teams as it pertains to the Atlanta Hawks back in the day, and of course he made it to the playoffs with the Nuggets for the past few seasons. But now he's going to be going over to the Brooklyn Nets. And the only question that I would have for Brooklyn Nets fans is, are you scared that when the Brooklyn Nets make it to the playoffs, and let's say they do play against the Los Angeles Lakers, that by having Paul Millsap on your team, he might actually bring y'all down when you're trying to beat LeBron James? Because if you look at the stats, you look at the amount of games that LeBron James has won against Paul Millsap teams as it pertains to the playoffs, Paul Millsap is 1-12 against LeBron James, which means LeBron James beat him 12 times and gave him one game. Well, I won't say gave because you're a professional basketball player, so I don't want to say that anybody gives anybody anything in a professional setting, but what I would say is that you're not too confident as it pertains to Paul Millsap going up against LeBron James, period, when you're trying to win the championship. So I think it's a great pickup. I think it's a good pickup for them, to give them more depth. They have, their top heads who are going to give them all the points that they need. Everybody else just need to play solid basketball on a day-to-day basis. And that's not saying that they need to score. That just means that they need to do some of the dirty work, picking up some of the rebounds, taking some charges, flying out of bounds to make sure that the ball doesn't go out of bounds to get it back to KD, Kyrie, or Harden, things like that. So it's not going to be too much work for any of these players that they'll need to do outside of that. Of course, they'll need to stay within the game plan and make sure that they're executing plays the right way. But for the most part, these players are to provide them with depth, so they don't really need them to score. So none of the players that's going to be, any of the additional players are not going to be players that they need to score. They need to come in there and play as hard as they possibly can play, and KD, Kyrie, and Harden will take care of the rest. But I do think this is a solid pickup. I think he's been a formidable player for years. He has put up big time numbers, and just to be frank with you, when it comes down to their game highs, he actually scored more points than LeBron in the game before, with 46 points is his high against him, and LeBron James' high is 40 points. So, maybe he might get sparked up real quick and do something. But overall, what I'm looking at, I think that the Brooklyn Nets are making some great acquisitions. I just think that they just need to, make sure that they played the way that they played last year. When we saw KD, Kyrie, and Harden on the court, even though it was a small percentage, it was a small period of time, I believe no matter what happens, what acquisitions they make, they will be a championship-worthy team. And I do believe that they'll be making it out of the Eastern Conference Finals next year. That's just an early prediction. I believe that the Bucks have a huge chance, to make it to the finals, but I highly doubt it with the Brooklyn Nets coming back, and especially if they're 100% healthy. If they're 100% healthy with the Brooklyn Nets, with all of these different acquisitions that they have added on to the team, I believe that they'll be able to make some noise on that east side, and we'll see them in the finals. So everybody hit that like button, make sure you smash that subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so you can receive a notification every single time we post a video. And put a comment down below, let me know, how do you feel about the addition of Paul Millsap on the Brooklyn Nets if you're a Brooklyn Nets fan. Let me know down below. This has been Sports R Us. I appreciate y'all.